When the summer breeze began to stir the streets of Catalonia, FC Barcelona found themselves staring at a familiar challenge. How to make an already dazzling attack even more formidable. Last season, they had painted opposition defences into corners with speed, flair and inventiveness. Yet in the hushed corridors of the Camp Nou boardroom, scouts and strategists whispered the same refrain. No matter how potent, their wide areas still craved fresh firepower. Who would be the next winger to sprint down the flanks, ignite defences and send the crowd into rapturous applause? Well, the answer at first seemed crystal clear. The figure at the centre of Barcelona's hopes was none other than Nico Williams, the young forward blazing trails at Athletic Club. Imagine a lit fuse, nimble, unpredictable, brimming with raw talent, and you have Nico. A product of Lezama's famed academy, he had spent seasons tormenting La Liga defences, weaving past fullbacks with the ease of a dancer. It wasn't just his pace that caught the eye, it was his audacious style, every touch, every feint a statement of intent. He seemed destined for the grandest stages, and Barcelona, ever hungry for dynamic wingers, viewed him as the next jewel to crown their attacking crown. Negotiations commenced under the warm glow of optimism. In a sleek meeting room, Deco, the club's trusted negotiator, sat across from Nico's representative, Felix Tainter. Over polished wood and steaming cups of coffee, assurances flowed like a smooth river. Barcelona promised the youngster a swift registration with La Liga, a formality they vowed to arrange before the season's curtain rose. "You'll be one of us," they said, their voices steady. In return, they asked for faith that Nico would embrace the Blaugrana shirt. But as the minutes turned to hours and meetings folded into follow-ups, a subtle tension began to ripple through the conversation. At the heart of the stall was Felix Tainter, a seasoned agent, known for protecting his clients' interests with the vigilance of a mounting guard. To him, verbal guarantees were but wisps of smoke. He demanded tangible proof, contractual clauses that would hold Barcelona to their word. Registration, he insisted, must be spelled out in ironclad terms, not whispered promises. As the days passed, what once looked like a straightforward deal started to twist into a labyrinth of clauses, legalese and uneasy gazes. Barcelona's negotiators grew restless, sensing that every step forward seemed to meet an unseen barrier. Frustration mounted. Barcelona, famed for their patient tiki-taka build-up on the pitch, found themselves flummoxed off it. They watched flickering WhatsApp indicators in conference rooms, waiting for responses that never quite answered the question. With each unanswered ping, the perception grew that Tainter's unyielding stance was dragging his young client away from one of football's grandest stages. A decision was made in hushed whispers, bypass the blockade. If Tainter wouldn't move, perhaps Nico could be persuaded directly. The plan was bold, talk to the player, not the agent. But would it backfire? Then came the message that changed everything. Late one evening, under the soft glow of a smartphone screen, Barcelona's negotiators fired off a proposal to Nico himself. Consider replacing Tarda with either Jorge Menz or Pini Zahavi. Menz, the powerhouse who had shepherded careers like Lamine Yamal's and Ansu Fatis, or Zahavi, the deal-maker behind the signings of Robert Lewandowski and Hansi Flick. Barcelona argued that these stars in the agent firmament could secure a smoother path to Camp Nou, trusted allies who understood the club's inner workings. But to suggest parting ways with Felix Tainter, to many it was a bridge too far. Across the miles, the Williams family convened in astonishment. For them, Tainter was more than an agent. He was a confidant, a mentor, a guardian who had shepherded Nico from boyhood dreams to the brink of superstardom. Their bond was woven through years of shared victories, late-night phone calls, and mutual respect. When news of Barcelona's suggestion reached them, it landed like a thunderclap. How could the Catalans ask one of their own to cast aside the person who had stood by him through every twist and turn? Outrage rippled through their ranks, stoked by pride and a fierce sense of loyalty. Almost overnight, the tide turned. Nico, once teetering on the edge of a life-changing move, made his decision with the clarity of a summer storm. He would remain at Athletic Club, his home, his launching pad, his family's symbol of pride, for the long haul. That very afternoon, he sat down at a table, pen in hand, and sealed a 10-year contract extension. By nightfall, he was recording a renewal video, his voice steady as he spoke of commitment, gratitude, and dreams yet to be be realised at San Mamés. And at dawn, Athletic Club's official channels lit up, announcing his future secured. Barcelona's grand plan had unravelled in the span of a heartbeat. What began as a carefully choreographed negotiation dissolved into a lesson about loyalty, respect, and the delicate art of dealing with people's passion. For Nico Williams, the message from Barcelona had proved to be the killing blow, not because it threatened him, but because it underestimated the bonds that truly matter. And in football, as in life, sometimes the most decisive goals are scored off the pitch. What will Barcelona's next move be? The summer is young and the transfer saga continues.